going to go over some of the additional fields that you guys can enter on your leads, some of them, like going over the various filter options and how that works. We do have a very limited audience here, so 5 of you all together, so we can really kind of customize and tailor this toward what you guys need additional assistance with. Some of you guys need help in other areas, or if there's any topics, so to speak, that you guys want to cover that maybe you need a little bit more explanation on, I'd be happy to do that for you. So you can always, raise your hand, use the Q&A, use the chat, so on and so forth, and we'll kind of go from there. And also, if you guys have any, like if there's any topics that perhaps you would definitely need a little bit more assistance with, just let me know. I'd be happy to kind of look, see what our options are, and see if we can kind of compile a webinar specifically catered towards those features. So I'm just going to share my screen here, and I am actually just going to turn my video off. I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary for this. I'd rather you guys focus on the screen than anything else. Perfect. So we are live on Facebook. So anyone that is on Facebook can definitely join in after if they want to comment. I'll try to keep an eye on Facebook as well as for any questions that come through. So when it comes to your leads in the CRM system, there is definitely some fields that you can add with respect to those leads in here. And those are typically found down in this lead data. So down here on the lead, not all of these features you can actually filter by. A lot of them are definitely just for your reference, more or less. So how much of this information you fill out is entirely up to you in here. So there is statuses in here. You're going to notice that there's all these like email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that sort of thing. Those are company statuses reflective of the email campaign associated with the buyer's landing page on a brand website. It kind of goes through what day, what status they go through with that. Now you can add additional statuses because you can filter your leads based on status. So there is definitely a roundabout way to add statuses if any of you guys are interested. So if you do have a branded website, what you're going to do is just click on your branded website. If you do not have a branded website, you are going to go to crm.agentlocator.ca to get to the legacy login. So do not click on go to new CRM, just log in with your regular logins. Otherwise, if you have a branded website, you can simply just click on this link. So when it comes to that, you're going to add that. So it's basically managing your drop-down menus. So under the settings, manage drop-down menus, wherever drop-down menus right here. And then you're going to see all those statuses. So these are system items. You cannot add new ones. But let's say I wanted to, add one where it was status was, qualifying, I guess, qualifying. And then you just add it in there. So you can add those in. Anyone that you do add in here, you can delete it. You just can't delete the system ones, unfortunately. There is obviously the lead types. This you can do through the other CRM system as well, or the new system, the religions as well. That is something that you can throw in the other system. You do have lead ratings. So if you do have them, if you wanted to add new lead ratings, you can definitely do that. The different task status, personally, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I've never done this, so I don't know if the status actually shows. So let's just add a testing one to see if it actually shows in the new CRM system. And then you have the task priority, and let's just go super high and see if those show, because these two I've never actually personally ventured into. I never found it really necessary to, so I've never actually gone through that. So that's more or less if you wanted to add the different lead statuses, those are what's going to show here in the system. So once I refresh this and we go and we try to find the qualifying one wherever it was. Oh, it's not allowing me. So look at that. Because we're live, it's going to give me a little bit of a hiccup here. And save. It should show it. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have to talk to our team as to why that's not pulling. It's just going to be these two options. So I'm going to have to check with the team. So sorry, guys, on that one, as to why those statuses are not pulling in here. Completely, I have no clue. So you do have the source of the lead. The source of the lead is generally how that lead enters into your system. So a lot of you guys do get leads through referrals or open houses, your center of influence, you know, maybe it's from a sports team, whatever it may be. So over here, you do have the ability in the sources to create additional sources. So this I can guarantee you 100% does work. You just click on add new source, and let's just say it was, you know, work referral. I'm just going to put work referral because I'm sure I have referral already on there. And so if I go back into the lead itself, and I'm just going to refresh this to make sure, you will have that as an option in here. So if we start typing, we can see that the work referral has been added to that lead. So you're able to filter your leads based on the source of that lead as well. You do have different lead types as well. So there is some standard ones that are in here. But some people do use this CRM system for, you know, their entire phone book, essentially. So you can create different lead types for sure. So over here, you have the lead types. So if you wanted to be able to do that, you definitely can. Oh, so John is telling me that sometimes you have to log off and on to see the change. The refresh doesn't work. So I could always try that afterwards, see if that works once we kind of go through with regard to this. And actually, I can do it very quickly. So let me just log out. And I'm going to quickly log back in. And we'll see if that lead, if it has it on there or not. The status was, no, that one doesn't show. So there's some sort of disconnect between the legacy and the new system with respect to that, unfortunately. You do have your lead type, so we just went over that. You can put if they have a house to sell. You cannot filter your leads based on this, just so you guys are aware. But you do have a buying in and a selling in time frame. These 100% you can filter your leads by. So you do have the ability to go anywhere up to 12 months plus on here, or if you don't know, you can always put unknown for them, that sort of thing. And same goes for the selling timeline as well with respect to. Wade is asking, can you have multiple lead sources for each prospect? The only other way you could do it is through the referral source. So if it was like a referral and then the referral source would be like work, for example, you could do it that, but it's generally that lead came from one source. Generally speaking, they typically don't come from multiple sources. But this is where you would be able to filter those by. I don't believe you can filter by referral source, but it will show on the main page for you there. You do have the owns or rents. You cannot filter by this. Again, it's just going to be for your reference only in here. If you have the mortgage type, this I'm pretty confident you can filter by. So whether they're pre-qualified, they're paying in cash, not pre-qualified, that sort of thing. And then you have additional contact information for that lead, again, just for your reference of that information. Now, when we go into the more detailed section, this is where you can add the address of your lead or contact. So if somebody sold them a property, or it's a seller lead perhaps that gave you an address for an evaluation, if you fill this information out, you will be able to print labels. So some of you guys do like to print labels, send things out, you know, especially around the holiday season. So you definitely would be able to do that by adding this in here. Now, one thing that you guys do have the ability to do is actually set up reoccurring anniversary or birthday emails. So when you have that selected in here, so basically what you would do is you would just select the date. So let's say their closing was today, for example. Then what you would do is you would click on the little icon and you get to select what's going to happen on that day every single year. So you can have it, so it either sends an SMS or an email. and then you select the time that it's going to go out. If you created a template in the email section with respect to this, you can definitely throw that in here. Otherwise, you can just, pre-write that, create that template essentially as to what's going to go out. So it's email, for example. You can add images and things like that, really customize it towards that person. To download images using the email template creator, you download an image from your computer that you could throw into the email itself, and then you can put your own signature and so on. Or if you had a template, you would just select the template and modify that template however you see fit. So you can do the same for the wedding or the birthday for them as well. A lot of people do ask, well, how do I send it to the spouse? Because they often have it. We unfortunately don't have this feature yet specifically for the spouse. So what you can do, there's two options. The first option is just create another account just for the spouse. Just for that sole reason only of being able to directly communicate with the spouse. The other option is, and it's kind of a roundabout way, but if you edit the email and you put a comma here and put the spouse's email, they're both going to get every communication that sends out. They're both obviously in the to line in the email. And then what some will do is, like, even if it's the husband's birthday, it'll say, you're customizing that email anyway. It would just say, like, hi, Joe, happy birthday, da, 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 da. The wife would get it as well. And then the same you could do. A lot of people, I personally don't know any of my clients' wedding anniversaries. Maybe you guys do, but throw the wedding anniversary as one of the spouse's email and then have that email go out. They'll both receive a copy of that email, but again, that email would be directly, it'd be like, hi, Crystal, happy birthday, that sort of thing. So that's your other way around doing that, needless to say, in there. So Navita is asking where the anniversary date section. So it's under your lead here, Navita. So at the very top of your lead, you scroll down, you have this section right here. You go into the more detailed section, and then you have your purchase anniversary, the birth, that's your birthday, and then the wedding one as well. So Wade is asking, is it better to have both the husband and wife in the same contact or separate them? That's a personal preference as to whether you have that or not. If it's a separate and they don't have any activity, it depends on what you're filtering for and how you're reaching out to your database. That's the only, like, if you're, let's say the husband is the only one that's set up on the listing alerts, for example, it's only going to show his activity, not the wife's activity. So a roundabout way, again, is to keep them together. That way, even if it is a husband and wife, so I would go like Crystal and Joe, for example, and then all the emails, the automatic emails would go out saying, hi, Crystal and Joe. And then you would have their emails comma separated, right? So like Joe, no space, sorry, there's no space after that comma, joe@mail.com, for example. And then they both, any email would go out, it would be sent to both of them automatically, whether it's a mass email or what have you. When you go to click on this email, you can delete. So if you only wanted to send this email to myself, not to Joe, you can delete the additional email. And then of course you would just, modify that email accordingly that way. And separate, yes. Never mind. Okay, so Navita found it. Perfect. Awesome. So that's something that could be, it's like you set it, you forget it. You can have it so if you go in, you can modify those emails yearly, annually, if you really wanted to. You'll also be able to filter based on birthdays as well. You can select religions as well. In here, in the settings, you do have the ability to add more religions as well. So you can filter your leads based on the religion. So if you practice certain religions or you want to send those people a specific email on a specific holiday, you can definitely do it that way in there. Now you do have the buyer info. Again, this is all reflected. This is more or less for your preference only. All of this information is likely going to be on their search anyway. So this is just more for your reference. The price range, this here will automatically fill out if you guys are on the lead gen site. It generally pulls it based on the listings, how they got that set up. Or if you guys do have that branded website, it is going to, if they fill out the daily listing alerts landing page, it again will also fill that out for you. The seller information, same idea with that. If a lead fills out the Homeworth landing page, you're going to be able to see that information here as far as the location of that property on here. So if you do have that address in here, and this is something that I have requested to our dev team to somehow pull over, is to include that address also somehow in the more details here where their address is. So that if you have sellers that are putting their address in for home evaluations, you then have it here. So if you wanted to print off a label and send them something in the mail, you would have that ability to do so. Now, one thing I do want to mention with respect to the labels in here is that we do not yet have a filter to filter out the people that you have addresses for. So what I would encourage you doing is creating a tag. So if ever you're throwing an address in here for lead that you're going to want to print a label or potentially print a label, just create a tag. That way you can easily pull up all those people, you know, in the meantime until we have that filter built out for you, because right now there's no way. I just discovered that the other day that we don't actually have an actual way to filter out those people that have that address entered in there. Now, does anyone have any questions about this section first and foremost? And then we'll kind of go to run through the various type of filters that you guys have in the system and how they work, because we've never really gone over the different types of filters. We tell you there's a lot of filters, but we don't actually show you what they do or how to use them more or less. No one really has anything? Perfect. So as many of you or all of you may know, you have the ability to add filter items. And what's great about the Agent Locator CRM system is that you can really create specific audiences here for yourself using, so you can stack filters, you can save filters. So whenever you want to save a filter, you give it a name, and then you either create it as a personal filter or a company filter. Personal filters are really just filters that are personal to yourself. So if you are a team lead, for example, and you wanted to create a personal filter, that means anyone within your organization doesn't have access to that filter. It's just for you, it's personal. If you create it as a company filter, then any user account within your system would have access to that filter as well. Now, I saw that there was a hand up. John, did you have a question or? Put it down, put his hand down. So there is the Q&A and then there is the chat as well. If you feel like your question is better answered and you want me to turn your mic on, just let me know, I will do that. We generally have these so everyone's mics are turned off, just because that, you know, depending on how many people are in here, that could be a lot of background noise. People like to keep their mics on and have chaos all around them. So makes it less distracting for everyone in here. Okay, no worries, John. So with respect to the filters, so we'll kind of run through them all and kind of show you how they work. So the number of calls, a lot of you guys maybe use this one here. You have the ability to filter the calls by, you know, the number of calls equal to or less than, or equal to or greater than. So if I wanted to pull up all my leads that I have never called, so there's 0 calls logged on my lead, you could just apply the filter and it's going to show you every lead in here that doesn't have a call. So again, we're looking at this right here where there's no calls logged on these leads. You can do it again for equal to or less than. So I want all my leads that have, let's say 5 or less calls on them. It's going to pull up all the people that have 5 or less calls. So they will have some calls, like this one has 2, for example, but it's 5 or less calls. And same to equal to or greater than 5. I probably don't, oh, there is 5. So this one here has 5, 8 calls, 14 calls, and so on and so forth. So that's the calls. The SMS is going to be exactly the same way. So same idea. If you have anyone that, let's say you want to pull up everyone that you've never actually sent an SMS to, you can definitely do that and target them if you're looking to do some sort of mass communication in essence with that. Birthday, so you can filter your leads. So if you do throw in people's birthdays, you can definitely filter them out. So if you wanted to pull up all your leads' birthday, that is over the next 7 days, you'd have that ability to do so. Everyone that is all between these dates. So if, let's say, you wanted everyone that's birthday is, let's say, anywhere between this year kind of thing, you can apply the filter, or this month rather, you can definitely do that. So there is ways that you can filter and pull up all those people that have birthdays coming up. The buying city. So this is a cool tool for you guys. I've shown this before in connection with the 2 other filters, the buying home type and buying price and or price down here. So the buying city, so basically this is great if you are trying to pull an audience based on where they're looking to buy. So let's say I have a listing or an open house or something like that, or I have, you know, a seller that doesn't want to, you know, it's exclusive, that sort of thing. You can put in, you just type in the city. Maybe my listing was in Toronto. When you apply that filter, it's going to show you all the people that currently have listings being sent to them for the city of Toronto. So their criteria is that they're looking in Toronto. So we've got 35 leads in here right now that are looking to buy in Toronto. So there's that one. You can also stack them as mentioned. So where this comes in handy is you have the buying home type as well. So the buying home type, so maybe you've got an exclusive listing and it is a condo listing. So I want to pull up everyone that is looking for a condo, essentially. So you just add that type and then go apply. And then it's going to show you anyone. So of those leads, 17 of my leads are looking for a condo in Toronto. So some people leave it at this. They're like, you know what, if they're looking for a condo, they're going to get all my notifications about, you know, new coming soon open houses, exclusives with respect to condos. Some of you may want to, you know, really break it down. I only want to market these properties to people that are actually looking within that price point, because sending, you know, $1 million condo to someone that's looking, you know, in the 475 range, you know, they might want to look at it, but many of them do think that you're actually directing that directly to them. Some of them don't really fully grasp that it's just the mass communication. So then you would put in the buying price in this sense. So you have the option of the range equal to or less than or equal to or greater than again. So when you use the range, for example, it is pulling any aspect. So let's just say my listing in Toronto is listed at 500,000. So I want anyone that's looking between anywhere from 450 to 550. So keep in mind when we put these ranges in, this range, these prices can be anywhere within their criteria. The 450 might actually be their maximum price point, or it could be their lower price point, or it could be somewhere in between. Same with the 550, it could be their maximum, it could also be their minimum. So when we go in here and we apply the filter of these 17 leads, we're gonna have 7 of them that actually fall within that criteria. So we can see their max here. This one isn't showing just because we haven't resaved the search, but their search is created with that. Again, another 300 to 500 and 5 to 7. So the minimum was falling in between there as well. So this is where I would save this personally. If you guys feel like you want to target, you know, when I have a coming soon or an open house or what have you, and I want to create these audiences based on that, you can save it, right? So if I create these for people, I just go new listing / open house, and then save it as a filter. And then every time you go up here, that's where your new filters are going to be, right? So they're all going to show up here. And then you could always just modify it, right? So if you get another listing and that listing's priced at 700,000 and it's in Mississauga, then you just, change the price points and change the property types, and then you just hit apply. And when you hit apply, for example, and I'll just show you guys. So let's say I'm looking for anyone between 6 and 700,000, and let's say now it is actually a townhouse, and I don't even know if this is going to exist, but Mississauga. So you could just modify that and then click apply. When you click apply, it does not change the filter. It's just temporarily updating that filter for the time being. So then you can still click on the top column, select all, and then perform your action as however you are. Maybe you're reaching out to these people through phone, whatever it is. So that's those filters for you there. And we'll keep going through here. Sometimes the buying price, so if any of you guys do the buying price and for some reason it's all of a sudden your results go to 0, use the price feature. So it's right down here. So if you use the price, you have like preset ones. I always do the custom. So anywhere, let's say between 500 and 600,000. And again, you can stack them with the other filters as well. And then you hit apply, and it'll show you all those people that are pulling within that criteria. So there is that one there. So going back up to the top here, anyone have any questions so far? So the buying time frame. So the one thing as well, if you notice when I put on that buying timeline, it shows right here on the home page. So you're able to visually see that timeline when you're looking at the lead right from the screen. So it's super beneficial. And again, this is great when you have those leads that you've made contact with. It's all about knowing when they're planning to move or have a general idea. This is going to help guide you as to how frequently you should follow up with them. So when we put in the buying time frame, you have the is or is not. So if I wanted to pull up everyone that's looking to move anywhere between now and the next 3 months, you have that ability to do so. It's going to pull up all those people. Again, it's looking at your last point of conversation at this point to see when you should probably be reaching out. 1 month ago, that's way too long for somebody that's planning a move in the next 3 months, right? So we should be reaching out to somebody once a week if they are within the next 3 months. So you have that there. The selling time frame is going to be exactly the same as that one. You do have your call results. So if you want to pull up all your people where the call result is specific or has been, so you can go, the call result has ever hit talk to lead, then you have all of those people. So 49 people in here, there was a call result, whether it was the last call result, any call result resulted in that you talked to the lead. Okay, so, or if you want to pull up everyone, let's go back, everyone that let's say is not in, I want to pull up everyone that I've never talked to, like I've never had a call result where I talked to that lead. It will pull everyone up that way as well. You have campaigns, so this is great. So if you have campaigns created, so again, that's, we did a whole webinars on your campaigns, you can have and pull up people that have that campaign. So the open house, I did one on the open house. So if I wanted to pull up everyone that's been assigned to that campaign, I have that ability to do so. So all these people have been assigned to that open house campaign. If I want to pull up everyone, let's say you have a campaign and you want to pull up everyone that has never been added to this campaign, then we can pull all those people. So there's 7 people that haven't been added to that campaign. So if you wanted to mass add them to that campaign, you can. So you can select them all, apply actions, and then you mass assign a campaign. You would select the campaign that you would want. So in this case, I would say, okay, I want this one here, and then go done. So it automatically assign all those people to a campaign for you. Okay. You then have, so if it'll take a second usually. Oh, nope, they've all been assigned. So now there's no one that hasn't been assigned to that campaign in this system. Sometimes when you send out a mass or do mass actions, it takes the system to process, how it depends on how many people are being, actioned in that. The city. So the city is reflective of your lead's location at the time of registration. So if I'm just going to clear this. So this right here is always telling you where that is. And I'm just going to point back. So this is always the lead that's really, when they're coming through the website directly, whether it's for a Google campaign or what have you, it will tell you. Facebook doesn't tell you where they are. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you that. And then just going back to Wade, where he had asked for if you can have the additional source. So if you remember, we had the work referral and then we had the referral and referring source. So that's where that would show on the lead. And I'll just kind of point that out again here quickly while I happen to notice that. So again, you have that referral source right here. You can't filter by this, so unfortunately, just so you are aware. So those are those filters there. So city, this is again, so this is great. And I actually had a client yesterday that asked me this. I have a buyer that's looking and there isn't anything. How can I pull up all my leads that are currently located in that city to send them an email to see if they're planning on selling because I have a buyer? So this is exactly how you would do it. So most of the time, not always, a lot of people are at home when they're browsing online, looking at things, or they're close to home. So generally the city is either in or close to, let's put it that way. So here, if I put in Toronto, for example, it's going to pull up all the leads that their location was in Toronto at the time of registration. So if you have one of those buyers and there's just no inventory and you want to try to reach out to that database with respect to that, this is how you would definitely do a city equals and then the city it is in with regard to that. Now, email validity. So if you are sending a mass email, I always encourage everyone to filter out the leads that you cannot email. Right? So email validity, in that case, we would only want people where it's unknown because maybe we have yet to send them an email or it's valid. Meaning if we're sending out a mass email, we don't want to send it or try to send it to people that we obviously can't send it to. So unknown valid, apply that filter. It's going to filter all those people. So again, if we had that city where we were looking in Toronto for those sellers, perhaps, come on, and apply that filter, it is going to show us then there's only actually 4 people that have valid emails that we could potentially send that to, that request to. We're not wasting it on all the other ones. Keywords. So this keywords here is actually connected to this search bar right here. So keywords are pulling based on keywords associated with their email, their name, their phone number, things like that. So it's their general information. Where this becomes extremely useful, and you don't even have to use this, you could just use this search bar right here, is if you guys are using Twilio and you are sitting at your desk, you're making a bunch of calls, and one of those leads that you called calls back. Hey, I just missed a call from this number. Well, you're now moved on to whatever lead, and you're like, oh, great, who is this that's calling me? The fastest way to figure out who that lead is the last 4 digits of the phone number that's popping up on the call display. If you type that in, it's going to pull up every lead that has that number, those series of 4 digits within their phone number. So you can see there's 8 of them because I've registered several times on here, but you'd be looking for the last 4 digits. So if you have multiple, you're looking for the last 4 digits because sometimes those 4 numbers could also be in the middle of the phone number as well. So that's like the little insider tip. If people call you back, that's how you quickly find them. But it will pull up portions of as you can see, portions of the phone number, portions of the email, portions of their name or full names, things like that. So you can really search for people. You don't have to have full spelling. You can just start typing part of it. So if I just started typing Cry, for example, it's going to pull up everyone that has Cry in their name, for example, or their email. Yeah, so Wade is asking if they call the Twilio number back, does it ring to our cell phone attached to the Twilio account? So Wade, when they call that number back, it's actually connected to whatever number you have in your user preferences. So if you go to your user preferences, you do have your cell phone number. So this is the number that routes any incoming call or any incoming text message. That's where it goes. So when you get a call from Twilio and it's routed to your cell phone, your phone's going to ring no differently than somebody that actually has your direct line. So if your cell phone, some people have done this where they had someone put like a Google number in there because they're a US client, they can get Google numbers, and they kept getting these weird notifications and figured out that's why. Some people have, put their office number in there, and of course they can't get text messages unless they're on a VoIP system. So it's always best that you have this either on a VoIP. So if you have like a VoIP phone within your office that you can get that, or your cell phone number, that way you're not missing out on any of the communication. Because if you have a landline in here, the lead will update and you will get the SMSs in the system. It's just you're not getting those messages forwarded to your phone. So you can't respond to them unless you're sitting at your desk. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's generally. So anytime somebody reaches out to you, your cell phone will ring no differently than it would if somebody had that direct line. Last activity, this is one where a lot of people do like to use it. It's a great way if you're looking, a short span of time to follow up with some leads. You can definitely pull up leads based on their last activity. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, filtering options essentially. A lot of the times we filter for leads within the last 30 days. Some of you might want to look at listings only within the 5 days. It's whatever, it's entirely up to you. So if you're looking for a number of days that's not in here, you can do all between these dates or all after this date, for example, or all the leads within the last number of days, which in this case, let's put 30. So anyone that's really considered, as an active lead is somebody that has been active within the last 30 days. Now, once you've applied this filter, you can definitely sort it. So I can actually sort this based on last activity to show most recent first. And even though all these leads have been active within the last 30 days, it's going to flip them based on that activity. So some of them may have registered a lot longer ago than recently, but they were just active. They happen to be a little bit more active in there. So that's the last activity. So last call result. So this last call result is a cool feature, especially if you're following up with people and you want to follow people that, you've called them, but you want to follow up with the people that maybe you've already talked to, or the last call result is not in. So you called them and maybe you've spoken to them before, but you haven't spoken to them again. So the last call result then would be, is not in talk to lead. It's going to pull up all the people that, you may have talked to them at some point. But the last call, so you can see here, the most recent call, for example, was the wrong number, but the previous one I did talk to the lead. So the last call result was not a talk to lead in that case. And then same with this one here, the last call result was like no message left, and so on and so forth. Where this would be handy is if you guys have leads that you've made contact with. So a lot of individuals, the early bird gets the worm, the first one to it gets the results, gets the deal. It doesn't happen if you're not nurturing that lead. It's the person who's going to nurture that lead and really add value that's going to get the deal. I don't care who got to that lead first. Personally, that's my personal take on that. So one of the things is if you wanted to pull up all the people, let's say that their pipeline in this case, which is this section right here, is all the people that you've made contact with. So I want all the people that I've made contact with, but my last call to them, I didn't actually speak to them. So you can definitely do that. And then again, if you wanted to do it, and I created a safe filter, I think, training filter contacted, which is pulling all these, you can pull them up. So the pipeline is made contact. The last call result is not in talk to lead. And the last SMS was unanswered, basically all the leads. So meaning that any attempt I've made so far, I sent them a text, I tried calling, I still haven't made contact with again. These are the 6 leads that I should probably reach out to and focus, whether it's through call or SMS, to see if I can't get them to respond to me. So this one here, if you guys are wanting to use it, is pipeline is, make contact, last call result is not in, talk to lead, and then the last SMS to lead unanswered is all the leads. So these are all the people that your last attempt at communication, you didn't achieve a result, a good result, needless to say. So it kind of allows you to focus on those. You can even break it down into last activity as well. So if you wanted all the leads then that have been active within the last 30 days, you can apply that filter. And then now we've only got 2 that actually fall as a qualifying in this one here. Or if you wanted to do where it was their timeline, right? So you can even do the buying time frame. I want everyone that's between now and the next 6 months. I want to pull up all those people that I had my last result did not result in that. And you can even do, you can even keep building this out, really. I don't want to overcomplicate things. So I always tell everyone, kind of familiarize yourself with the filters, play around, see what they do, see what the consistency is, and kind of go from there. So we did just go over the last SMS to the lead status. So again, where we had those there, I'll see there's the qualifying one, but it doesn't show up on the lead. Weird. So I'll have to look into that. Obviously, there's no one that has it, but it added in here, so that's weird. So you do have, a lot of them are going to be open, but if you have those lead statuses, that's where you do it. The lead types, again, so that's the lead type. So again, you can add lead types into the system. So if you deal with like, if you're using this as your phone book, lead type is family, for example, and you want to pull up all your family members and send them a holiday card or whatever. So I don't know if you would do that, but if like hypothetically, or maybe you wanted to reach out to all your vendors because you're having a appreciation night, you can definitely do that. So if you're pulling up anyone based on any lead types that you create, it will do that for you. The listing agent, so on any agent or any lead, for example, you have the ability to add different individuals. So you have the main agent. The main agent is really where all the main communication is coming from that main agent. So where you might see this is in a larger team. Every team functions and operates different. Some teams like it that the main agent, all the communication is always coming from that main agent, whereas those buyer agents that may be working the leads, unless they're directly communicating with the lead, all the automatic emails always come from the main agent. So in this case, you can assign somebody as a listing agent. So the listing agent then has access to the lead, but can still also communicate with that lead as well. And then some of you, if you do have teams or plan on having teams that have the mortgage agent assigned to it, you can actually give a mortgage agent access to a lead as well. So if they wanted to reach out to that individual, they definitely have access to do so. So that's what the seller, so the listing agent, where we went, where did my listing agent go? Right here. So if you wanted to pull up all the leads, let's say like Tommy has been listed here as the listing agent, you'd be able to see all the people that he would have access to. Main agent, same idea. One thing to note in here is the main agent. So whenever you see these little magnifying glasses, that just allows you to automatically add that filter. So if I want to pull up all the leads assigned to Agent Locator training, I just click on that. It automatically adds that main agent filter for you, and you just hit apply at that point. Okay. So that's one way. So the same goes for source, right? So if I wanted everyone that's a source, like came from Facebook, for example, that's how you do that one as well. A little bit of workaround on that one, and let's just main agent, mortgage types. So this is where under the lead, again, where we had if they were pre-qualified, cash, whatever, this is where you can easily pull those people up, right? So the people, so again, if they're pre-qualified, if you have a mortgage agent in here, or you have those buyers, again, stacking your filters, maybe the people that still, they're not pre-qualified, and maybe there's like some new incentives or something going out with regard to mortgages, and now's the time to go through that approval process, you can definitely filter out the people with this and target them directly that way. You can also add tags as well for that. It's entirely up to you. The name, again, is just going into this. Notes, you can add keywords. So you have notes like, and it's going to pull up notes on the lead. I'm going to just look for a keyword here. I don't know which one. So crystal buying, let's look at the notes on this one. And it's usually, so it's pulling it based on this keyword right there. That's why. That's not going to work. So typically, if you have notes on there that you left, for example, pre-approved, we don't usually leave a lot of notes on our leads in the training account to be able to really show this to you guys. This might pull a few, no. But generally speaking, if you guys are leaving notes on your leads, it will generally do that. So let's just see this one here. Criteria, city, I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. So let me leave a note on one of these leads and test this out, because typically it will work, because you can mass assign notes to people, and we'll go from there. So featured, save. That's an easy note. Now add the note and featured. There we go. So now we have that. It's pulling that keyword in your notes. So if you're ever leaving notes, you definitely have to. I don't use this very often, but some of you may leave notes and you want to pull up a note based on something. You're like, shoot, who did I speak to? Or I know I left a note with regard to, indicating this. That's generally how you could go about doing that, and kind of go from there. Now, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. It's not a filter that I generally use. So it's really phone validity. So this is great. And when we create filters for you guys, we only use, especially if it's a call list, we're not including people that we can't call, right? So we want phone validity is either unknown or valid when you're doing call lists, meaning that it's not going to pull any leads into your list that have invalid phone numbers, or they've opted out, meaning so you can't call those people. So all the people, they're unknown or valid. So this one's showing valid. Now, again, you guys can mark this. So marking it either invalid, valid, unknown. If you log a call and you talk to the lead, it's going to automatically mark this as being a valid phone number. If you log your call that you've got the wrong number, it's going to automatically mark it to invalid for you. So don't use tags, because the phone validity is already here. Same with the email, you can adjust it, that sort of thing. It's already here. You can't do is and is not tags. Okay, so that's where it comes into an issue when you start to use tags for everything, and then you wanted to do this, but you don't want this. You won't be able to do that, unfortunately. So if there's a filter for it, use the filter and use the tags as secondary. But also with the tagging here, if you guys tag a lead that it's a bad number, you don't need to. You're going to mark this as invalid, right? And if you guys are on the automated system and have your Twilio going, it's going to actually encourage that lead to give you a valid phone number, meaning they can't actually fully action any of the listings until they give you a valid phone number, which then they need to authenticate through a 4-digit PIN. So if you guys are noticing it all in your text messages, like 4-digit PINs are going out, that's a lead trying to change their phone number. So if you've marked this as invalid and you've marked this and put a tag on there as invalid, what ends up happening is that lead might change their phone number, and you might overlook that change in phone number because it has a tag saying bad number, if you get what I'm saying. So I like don't have that on there, these already serve as your valid or invalid, that sort of thing. Your pipeline, again, we kind of went over that. That's where you can filter your leads based on their current pipeline status. In here, where they're currently situated on. You do have pipeline statuses in here. So basically the pipeline status is when you do that, you select that, when did it change to this pipeline status? So if I want to pull up everyone that I've tried to contact, or their pipeline status moved to try to contact last month, for example, I can do that. Now they're not on try to contact, but last month, I made them to try to contact, if that makes sense to you. Or if I wanted everyone that I made contact with last month. So these are all those people that I've made contact with last month. So you can see the date on there. This person could be on set meeting, but because I made contact with them last month. So this is good as well. If you are, trying to evaluate, okay, how many people did I make contact with this month, or how many, if you are a team lead and you have agents under you, how many people did, so-and-so make contact with this month, that sort of thing, or if you're doing it by the year, right? So if you're evaluating your system at the end of the year and you want to see how many people got into certain phases with respect to their statuses, then you can definitely do it that way. You can kind of do a full evaluation. Receiving listings, this is basically, are they receiving listings? Yes or no. It'll pull you up with that. So the 80 leads are receiving listings. And then if you does not receive listing emails, you can pull up all those individuals and say, oh, maybe we should get them to receive some listings. So that's one way of definitely doing that as well. Registration is actually pulling up your leads based on when they registered on your website or they entered your CRM system. So if you imported a database, that counts as the registration date, just as a heads up. So this is good if you're looking to pull up leads. Let's say you're trying to resurrect is the word I'm looking for, some old leads. You might want to do, all leads that are all before this date. So I want all the leads that have registered or came into my website prior to December 31st. So all of these leads registered or came into the CRM system prior. So these are older leads. And then again, you might want to filter them out or target them or add more filters and so on and so forth. So that's that. Your religion, again, you can filter if you have those religions. You can pull up anyone that has those, religions added to them. So if you wanted to send out mass communications, saved searches. I don't even know what this is, to be honest with you. So that's the same as the receiving listings. Oh, now I know. I went through this this morning. So the saved searches is if they have a search set up under the lead gen site. Doesn't have to be running, it just has a safe search. So you'll see that they all have at least one safe search. So these are the safe searches right here. They have all at least one safe search applied to them. The selling time frame is the same as that buying time frame. We do have that source again. So if we wanted to pull up all our leads based on a specific source, we can do that. It's kind of evaluate if you're running various Facebook campaigns or things like that. You can pull up all the leads to see how that's working out for you, get your total numbers. You do have tags as well. So the tag, you have this middle right here. So when you have all the tags, for example, so if I had this here, these leads that I want have to have all these tags. They can have additional tags, but they have to have these two at least. So there's no one that follows that. Now, I can also pull it up so that I want to pull out the people that have none of these tags on them. So there's 126 that have none of those tags on them. You can then do it for any. So meaning that they can have any of these tags. They can have either or both, plus any additional tags, but they have to have at least one of these tags on them. So there's 3 of them that have it. So we have the buyer Tobacco and the first time on there. And then only selected means that they can only have these selected tags. They can't have any other tags on them, just these 2, which I know the results are going to be 0. in that sense. So that's a tag. So this is also great if you guys are using the sample tags and you're looking to pull up different audiences, you know, being able to pull up leads based on tags they have or tags they don't have, and so on and so forth. You can filter through your tasks as well and create a list here. So if you want to pull up all your tasks, let's say that haven't started and that were due maybe like, let's say last month, for example, we can see that there's 122 tasks from last month that are in here. Actually, those are the tasks right here. I don't know why I was looking at emails. These are the tasks right here showing when those tasks are there. We can see that there's a lot of overdue tasks that are on this Google. So this is one thing as well if you want to have, you know, tasks that are for this week, that sort of thing. You can pull up all your tasks that are due at a specific time, or if they're in progress, that sort of thing. You can do that. And then was last contacted. So was last contacted, and then you can select this. So again, when we create filters, we do this for you. So we usually do it was last contacted by phone. And let's say I want to pull up all the people that I contacted by phone last month, for example. We'll be able to pull up all the people that we called. It doesn't mean we connected with them, but we contacted them last month through a phone call, essentially. You also have the ability to do the same with was not contacted. So if I want to pull up all the people that I haven't contacted by SMS, you know, all leads in the last 30 days, for example, you have that ability to do so. I kind of contacted these 113 people by SMS in the last 30 days, or by phone. Email, this is where it's tricky, because emails, just so you guys know, is also going to account for those emails that you guys have with listings in them. So if you're trying to pull up leads based on last communication, email isn't always the best because many of them are receiving daily emails from you, right? So either phone or SMS, or I wouldn't do any because it would include that. So one of the ones that we would create for you is somebody that is recently active. And let's say if we wanted to pull up all the leads that was not contacted, you know, by any within the last 3 days, for example, it's harder to do. These are all unsubscribed, but it'd be harder to do because many of them would have received an email within the last 3 days. So if we wanted to take that off and go was not contacted by phone, all leads within the last 30 days, then that's going to give us, you know, the results based on that. It's a little bit more accurate that way, or SMS, if that makes sense to you. So that's really, you know, a gist of all the filters that are available to you guys and how they essentially function, plus some of those additional features in the lead details itself. We do have a few minutes. Do you guys have any questions with respect to the filterings or the lead information or anything like that that I can cover for you guys quickly? Some of you may be typing. So there is a couple filters in here that you guys, that if you wanted to create for yourself, in the meantime, these filters are generally created to keep you on track. So you do have one filter that you could use, which is your 0 calls log filter. This is going to pull up a number of calls equals 0. The phone validity is unknown or valid, meaning we're not including bad numbers in this list. And the pipeline is not, we want this as is not made contact, sent meetings showing sold or garbage, meaning we have not made contact with these leads. Or you can do pipeline is, and then just do it the backwards. So pipeline is, someone played around with this and saved it. Not set new lead or tried to contact, meaning we have not made contact. So when we apply this filter, this is pulling up 47 leads that have had 0 calls logged on them, but the phone is either unknown or valid, meaning we got to call this list. This list, if you have it created, should always be empty. You shouldn't have any leads in this list for you. It should all be, you know, should be empty. No lead going, no uncalled. So when you're calling these leads, you often, you know, you can create 1 or 2 filters because some people just use the same filter for the same thing. So the second, Sandy is asking a question. Sandy, I'm going to come to your question in just a second here. So the second filter that you guys can create for yourself is the ones that you need to continue to reach out to. So in this case, we should try to call at least, try them for at least, 10 to 14, 2 weeks essentially. And being consistent with those calls, that builds curiosity, because we shouldn't leave a message. In many areas, it will not work. It depends on your area, really. Some people are a little bit more responsive to voice messages. Some will never call you back, or they'll avoid your call because now they know who it is. So there's always this mix. So it all depends on your market and the area that you're in. So basically what you would do is you would have your number of calls is equal to or less than 8. This is 2 weeks of call. This is 16 days if you think of it. Now it's the same criteria as the phone validity and pipeline. And then there was not contacted by phone, and this is all leads within the last number of days, and then it's 2. So what this does is it pulls up all your leads. So it's even going to include the leads that are in this number 1 as well. But basically, we're going to call those leads. So every time you call them, they fall off this list, and they're going to reappear 2 days later. So if I called, for example, Anya today, she'd fall off this list. She would not come back on this list tomorrow. She would come back on this list the following day, so I can continue. So it's always going to just keep telling you who to call. Most will answer by that 8th call, needless to say. So this is where some people will have 1 list or 2 lists. It really depends on how many leads you have in your system. If you have a lot of leads in your system and you're number 1, and then you have some that you've already called, have 2 lists. And then this one here, you're going to want to sort it. So last contact, and you're going to go last contact call to show most recent first, and then just click on the update. So that's part of your saved filter, is this sort order. Because what this will do is it will put at the top the people that you've already tried calling, and then at the bottom will be the people that have had 0 calls. So the ones that have the 0 calls, these are the ones that are on the number 1 list. They are going to naturally fall off this list as you log calls off that number 1 list. So once you guys get caught up on all your new leads, really those new leads, when you're reaching out to them, should only account for a maximum of 30 minutes a day, allowing you to really focus on the ones that you've made contact with. So leads that you've made contact with. So this one here is make contact recently active. There's really 2 filters. It's, the pipeline is make contact. You can even have set meeting, because some of these people you've arranged meetings for. And then the last activity is all leads within the last 30 days. So when it comes to these leads here, it's all about nurturing that lead. It's keeping yourself top of mind, but really adding value and standing apart from that competition. So where this is helpful is those timelines, because those timelines are going to indicate how frequently you should reach out to these people. So people that have a timeline of anywhere between now and the next 3 months, again, like kind of repeating myself, every week we should be reaching out to them. Now, it doesn't have to be anything extraordinary when we're reaching out to them. It could be a voice message if you've already talked to them. Or calling them, of course. Getting them on the phone is always, preferred. You can send a text message. Hey, Crystal, just checking in, making sure you're still doing okay. Any questions with respect to the listings you received this week? It's just letting them know that you're there. Or it's an email, cater towards their situation. So once a week for those people that are planning to move in the next 3 months. You have those that are, 3 to 6 months. That sort of thing. You're looking at every 7 to 14 days for those people. 6 to 12 months up, it is going to be, every 3 to 4 weeks for those people. And then anyone that's a year or more out is every 2 to 3 months. Essentially, you're going to want to touch base with them. So they will fall on this list if they're active. You can flip this list to is not, to follow up with the people that you've made contact with, but kind of follow their activities kind of dropped, essentially. but you can create those spin-offs. So again, having that last call results or last SMS unanswered in that. So again, that last SMS and last call results, having those two in conjunction to say, okay, I tried this person, but I didn't get a hold of them, that sort of thing. And then you can also add in timelines. So I created one where it was like your A++ lead, essentially. These are the people that have been active that plan on moving between now and the next 6 months. You can modify it however it would see fit to you, but that's where it's going to show you all these people are planning to move in connection with my last point of communication. These are the leads I really need to watch. I really need to, make sure I'm adding that value because they're the ones that are transacting sooner rather than later. Now, hopefully that makes sense to you guys with respect to that. If you guys have any requests with respect to filters, you need help creating filters, it takes me like no time to jump in and go boop, 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 boop. So if you guys need help setting them up, just shoot me an email. It's crystal@agentlocator.ca. We'll jump in, we'll make them. Depending on if you're looking just for standard filters, we can do that. If you're looking for something a little bit, outside the box or regular, then we can definitely discuss that and see what's the best approach for it. Now, Sandy had a question just asking phone recordings. How do we record a call so it is saved? So good question, Sandy. So there's two options in here, of course. If you're using Twilio, the benefit of Twilio is that all those calls are going to be automatically logged and recorded in your CRM system. So whether you're making that call or receiving that call. So those receiving calls, that's where some of our top producing realtors that, many of you aren't at your desk very often when, things pick up, you're kind of here, there, and everywhere. So the benefit of those calls being recorded and logged automatically is that you can have those conversations while on the go, and knowing that if you need to listen to that call later, you have that ability to do so. So I'm just going to kind of demonstrate the dialer. So if you have the dialer, you're just going to click on dial lead. Your little dialer is going to pop up here. This works on mobile as well. So if you open up the CRM from your cell phone, you just click on their phone number, hit dial, it's going to call them. You can edit a lead's phone number, just so you are aware. So if I give you an alternate number to call them on, you can edit it. And you will have your Twilio number in front of you. So really, when you initiate a call, it's going to let you know that it's connected. And the timer starts here. You will still have the ability to record. So you can actually manually turn a recording off. So if you're calling somebody that is, you don't want it recorded, you can turn it off. And then you can see that I'm calling myself right now. So that is that. And then you hang up, and then you can still log your call results. Again, we can pretend I talk to myself. Here you will want to. So one thing that I notice in systems, and it's very easy to do, I'm guilty of it myself, is very basic notes. You want to make sure that you have strong notes in there, because you don't know when you're going to action this again. So always leaving strong notes. And then Sandy, if we go here and we look here now in the notes and call section, we're going to see that that call was automatically logged with a recording. We can see that note that I created, I talked to the lead and so on. So that's the Twilio way. In this notes and call section, you do have the ability to log your call that way as well. So do note there is a big difference between a note and a call. A note is like sticking a sticky note on the computer. It's really not going to do a whole lot. So you want to make sure you log your calls as calls. You can backdate them. So if you know a call happened previously and you just didn't log it, just go back and you can back timestamp it, and then you still have your call results, and then of course the notes for that as well. So we put that there. Same idea, it's there, it's a call. So the calls will always show up as calls. We can also see that this number of calls has increased to 4 from the two previous. So hopefully that helps too. And again, if you guys need any assistance with respect to setting up any of your filters or anything like that, just let us know. If none of you guys have had training, just reach out to, we can get you the training on the CRM. Have you guys all had the training? Because we do have a bunch of people that are willing to help. So I will put it in the chat here just in case you haven't had training. So quickly before we go here. And they can also, if you guys do have branded websites, they can also touch base on that as well. So if you guys do have, you know, questions with reflect to those branded sites that you do have, then you can definitely do that. Why do I not have a chat option? Where is my chat? It's weird. There it is. So there's the link for training if you guys want to book. If you've already had training and you feel like you just need a refresher, just do the 30-minute refresher. If you guys have had training and you're still getting emails from your trainer, reach out to that trainer directly, just so that you're getting it's consistent, unless you completely want a different trainer. That's entirely up to you. But that trainer, if you've already done it, they do have scheduled check-ins with you guys to make sure that everything is good. But really, when it comes to your go-to, if you've already had that, just reach out to them and kind of go from there. And yeah. So I am going to end that for today. Thank you guys all for participating. Again, if you guys have anything that you're wanting to learn in the CRM or would benefit from CRM or from webinars on this or that, or whether it's even the website itself, just you know, shoot me an email. I'm always looking for ideas on how to help you guys achieve what you're looking for that much better and really gain a full understanding of your CRM system, so you know you're getting the results that you're looking for. So thank you, everyone. It's Friday, so have a good weekend. Hopefully the weather is okay wherever you are. Everyone's all over the place, and we'll see you next week. So planning out what that webinar is going to be about. Talk to you guys later.